What did you see on the goal there? It seemed to be you guys maybe turned off for 1 second there and they got the ball over the top. And what did you see there from where you were?
Yeah, I mean, it's weak side defending is what it is, and we talked about it going into this game. They're a team that likes to cross, their team likes to hit switches of play. Guys on the weak side, and this particular situation, Raw specifically, I think Rudy was kind of in that area. Tony was in that side, but as they switch and the player's on the back side of it and runs through the line, we don't track the run or manage the run. And when he runs through, he ends up unmarked and on the goal. And just the guys that are on that backside, that weak side, have to quickly make an assessment of whether that player's onside is going to be onside, and if they do, they have to track the run and take away the most dangerous player. And if it's Raw, for example, then leave the guy on the outside open and make sure you track that guy who's running in front of your goal. But I felt like, yes, we checked out. Naive defending, which happened a number of occasions through the course of the night. Just some naive defending, and it cost us. And that's this kind of game against these kinds of opponents, is you can't have letdowns. And Novak bailed us out on a couple. He made a couple great saves, but that one he couldn't do anything about. So we took it.
And what do you think about the overall performance with the group? You come up short, but you still have a chance to play your way into the next round there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tournament, so not everything was riding on this game. It would have been great to get 3 points or to put ourselves in a pole position. It just means that, for our advancement, everything rides on the next game. And so that's tournament play when you have groups like this. Overall, I felt like we started off pretty well, but I don't think that's out of the norm for them. And then they organize how they want to mark you and how they're going to defend you. And it becomes very man on man, if you will, for them, especially through the midfield, which makes it difficult for teams like us that want to press if we don't solve the problem and create the right overloads in the right places. And I felt at times we overcomplicated the game when the game needed to be simple and the ball just needed to move fast, and we could play faster than their pressure. I felt at times we were taking too long in the ball or trying to look for something that wasn't there. And that impacted some of our moments in possession down the stretch. I thought we had a good thing going on our right side as Memo came in and he started to roll out underneath Kelvin. And I felt like that was creating some problems for them, because to deal with Memo, they were going to have to bring somebody out of the middle, which would then open up the middle, and things came off it. We started to create more good moments, I think, down the stretch, partly because I think we started to separate them and make them make some tougher decisions in terms of their marking, right? And we were using each other to get each other unmarked instead of just running around trying to get unmarked sometimes. So I think that's the nature of their game sometimes, is the game can get a little bit like that, but they're a good team, and they obviously have players who can punish you if you make little mistakes. They did a nice job over the night of playing into their wing backs, who then would drive inside or would combine and work to the inside, and then they were getting in between us that way, which was some of the naive defending moments that I felt we had through the course of the night. They would just open us up. When our fullbacks would step out to defend, they would play off of them and just run by us and combine. And now next thing you know, they're running at our back line with an extra number. So just, again, as we get back going in this and get going again, we just need to make sure, again, we tighten up some of the details. This was a good opponent who asked some different questions of us than maybe we've seen in the last little bit.
Thanks, Damien. We'll go next to Josh. Josh, go ahead.
Greg, I think you mentioned in the run-up to this that it would come down to execution on the offensive side of things, and it seemed that maybe that was lacking tonight.
Yeah, we had some really good moments. I think we have one in the first half where Tyler's in. If he squares it to Preston, I think that's an option. I think we tap it in, and we're up 1-0. I don't think we created a ton. I thought we created some moments early in the first half. And then I thought we created, again, some really good chances late in the game. But whenever it's too difficult, too good opponents, there's some stalemates in there for sure. It becomes, as all games are, it's who's going to take those key moments and finish it. And you have to do that against good teams. You can't leave yourself vulnerable through long stretches of the game, or you're going to end up on the wrong side of it. And so that's one of the things I enjoy about playing, in the past in CONCACAF and playing these Mexican League opponents, is the quality of their players will punish you. You have to defend well and not naive. And and you have to take your chances and be efficient. And if you're not, then you're going to be vulnerable for not getting a result on the day.
The intensity seemed to be a pretty high intensity game. Maybe even, if we compare it to postseason sort of type of play, lots of tackles, lots of physicality. How do you think that helps you or hurts you going through the next game with Vancouver? And then an update on Gaston Brugman?
Yeah, again, I think the nature of the way they defend, and it's very personal. Once they organize the marking, guys are tracking and they're physical and they're very good at marking and defending individually. And so, again, as we tried to scoot out of things on the dribble or take a little bit of those extra touches, then the nature of that is you're probably going to get hit a few times through the course of the game. So again, I think that's for us to be smart about when we can combine and play fast and combine around their pressure, and when guys like Ricky can take that quick touch and scoot on the other side, because that's one of the things he and Douglas is those are the things that they're very good at. So it's just finding the right balance in there inside of that. But yeah, it was a physical game. They needed to get something out of this game, I think, to advance probably, and so they knew that. We wanted to get something out of it, so I think it had again, a tournament feel to it. So now we have one more ahead of us, and we've got to deal with that one appropriately. As far as Gaston, he felt some limited range of motion in his knee, and so he sat because he felt like he couldn't get into full extension. Don't really know exactly because it's early. We'll have to get an MRI tomorrow. We don't feel like it's serious, but it's something, because it's just a matter of what, and we don't quite know yet. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go to a question back here.
Yes, I'm Yahoo Japan writer Soichi Hayashi. I'm from Tokyo. I'm paying attention Lucas.
Yes.
He has a huge impact, I think. How do you feel about his chemistry in this team?
Yeah, I mean, Lucas is a very good player. He's a smart player. We were using him in different ways tonight because he's very versatile as a right back. Sometimes he was dropping in and creating like a third player in the build. At times he was kind of inverting to pick up the ball in midfield, because he's done that in his past. I felt like down the stretch, we just needed to get more width and some more up and down on the outside, and he'd been in there a long time and pushing. So we decided to make an adjustment to try to go to something that looked like a wing back on the right side. And I just didn't feel like he had enough in his legs to do that. But he's a very talented soccer player, smart. And he. With G2, he's gotten in there and he's looked good. For me, as it relates to the goalkeeper position, I wanted to give him an opportunity to come in and get settled in and to establish his personality behind the group and gain connections with his defenders, with the rest of the team, allow his personality to sort of emerge. When he came in initially, he was pretty quiet and he was kind of reserved, and he's a young goalkeeper, so it's not like he's been into different countries and behind a lot of different back lines. But he's experienced. He's played in this, Serbia's first division. He's got a number of games under his belt. He's played in the youth national team program, so he has quality. There's no question. You saw it tonight. For me, it was just being patient with him a little bit for him to establish sort of his presence inside of the group and let the guys get to know him as well. It's always, for me, the goalkeeper position and the presence is a big part of that. And so why tonight? Because I feel like he's earned the opportunity to get a game. I wanted to see him in there, and this is the first game in the tournament. And if it didn't go great for him, and I actually thought it did go great for him, we had another game, and it's an opportunity to see the young man. And right now in league, we have points to catch up, and it's a lot of stress sometimes in those games. This game had its stress, but we still had another game on the other side because it's bracket play. So, but I thought he was excellent. I thought he was good with his feet. I thought he was good with the saves he made. I thought he came out and punched the ball, which was an important punch. I thought he had a really solid game. what was the other one? I'm sorry.
I think Damien.
Oh, the lessons from the last game. The first is we have to start better. I mean, we were terrible at the start of the game there, and we got ourselves behind. We mismanaged a flighted ball in the box, but we've got to start the game cleaner. I think, the one thing about Vancouver is with Vanney, he's pretty flexible in different ways. He'll set up the team. It could be in a 4-3-3. It could be in a 3-4-3. He has some flexibility. So you can't always, you have to kind of be adaptable and see what they're going to do when they come out of it and make sure that you can adjust appropriately. We made some colossal mistakes on the defensive side that really hurt us. I actually thought when we went down a man, which we've got to keep 10, 11 guys on the field. But I actually thought when we went down a man, we actually had our fair share of the game and we actually scored the next 2 goals. And we had some good moments through the course of the game, but we have to start the game off clean, and we have to, defend better. I mean, they're a team that whips balls in front of the box, and White's a handful, Cordova's a handful. These are guys that are big, strong guys in the box, and we've got to manage their service, manage our box better. But I thought we had our fair stretch of possession. I thought we created chances there. But that was down a man for 60 minutes, 65 minutes over the course of the game. So, we have to be at home, and we have to be better than we were tonight and better than we were in that game.
We'll go ahead and conclude tonight's press conference there. Thank you, Greg, for your time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
For those in person here, if you'd like to speak to players, there's additional Galaxy and Club Leon players available directly behind you in the mix zone. Thanks to all for joining us on Zoom, and we appreciate your coverage. Should you need any additional information, any questions,